All right, greetings, my dudes. This will be kind of an installation process tutorial on how to install the launcher for this game along with the JRE. The actual text itself is going to be on the GitHub page, the link for which will be in the description below. But first thing you want to do is click this link to OpenLogic and then go down to the selection. You're going to select Java 17. Your operating system is going to be whatever your operating system is. In my case, Windows. And then your architecture, most commonly, architecture is going to be 64-bit. If you know that you have a 32-bit computer, then obviously select 32. And then for package, select JRE because it'll be a little bit lighter. And then go down here and then click your installer. Or if you just want to take the direct package, which if only do that, I guess, if you know what you're doing, then you can do that as well. I'm not going to run the installer because I already have a JRE installed onto my computer running as is. Anyways, that's how you get the OpenJDK to run. And then let me open back up my GitHub because I closed it. So then going back here to the actual download, you're going to click and download the zip file for whichever your operating system is, either Windows, Mac, or Linux. They're all wrapped a little bit differently. So I'd go here, I'd click this, I'd download it, and then I'm going to go ahead and just delete that because I already have it. So then going to the actual application itself, you can place it into a folder, you can place it wherever you want. It doesn't really matter where you place it. Just double click and run it, or do whatever magic you do on Linux. All right, anyways, the launcher window itself will come up. It will have 3 noticeable buttons and then this really interestingly scaled down Earth. You'll have your version selection window over here. There's currently only one selectable. These versions are all cached, so if you ever are disconnected from the internet, as long as that file remains, you'll still be able to use the version selector. Every time it runs, it'll also recache it from the GitHub page. And then the actual launcher data itself is going to go under your app data on Windows. On Linux, it's going to go under the user's home directory. And then on Mac, I believe it's under library application support, if I remember correctly. This is also where the crash reports go, so they'll be stuck into this if the game ever crashes, which it will. And then eventually saves will go in here as well, but currently there's nothing going on with that folder. The versions folder will also be in here, so you'll also find, well, currently nothing in here. But there's a fourth hidden button right here. At some point, I'm going to have to update the launcher because there's currently nothing for like password fields or username fields. And so there's a way to do that. So if there's ever a mismatch on whatever the actual current launcher version is compared to what you have, a button will show up down here to update the launcher. You click that. It's going to shut the launcher off, run a little updater program, then relaunch it for you. And if at any point with your assets, which I'll demonstrate, so if I press play, it's going to download. And then it'll launch. But like, let's say you decide to go into the assets folder right here, and let's go ahead and delete Earth, this, I'll delete this too. Let's say you delete all those, right? They're gone. You click play. Yeah, you got a bunch of error textures. That's not good, right? So if you hit verify files, and you can see that it'll reappear, all the files will be re-downloaded for the version that you're playing. Your assets are back. Important in this, do not ever delete the fallback image. The game literally will not be able to start because it's just designed to catch anything. If there's ever a missing texture, that way you can move things around and you won't have that problem. But this image is required for the game to function. Okay, anyways, actually clicking it and going in. You have your single player button, multiplayer and settings button, which are currently grayed out, and then the quit game. This will eventually be used to submit bug reports. I'll probably have it bring to like a web form for just submission with that. And then you can also include the crash log file, which will make it significantly easier for me to debug if I can see the stack trace. Any patch notes are going to go onto this screen right here. So you click this and it'll bring this up. You just click this to get rid of it. This is the screen, which I think I showed in my last video. All right, so if you click single player, it'll actually launch you and drop you into the world. And then I'm going to fall down. You spawn up at Y128. Oh, some cool mountains spawning in here. The chunk render distance is currently locked to 9 chunks. All chunks in the game are 32 by 32 by 32. And they generate infinitely up and down, so I do have infinite, quote-unquote, distance up and down. You can go... Wow, that's a pretty nice mountain. You can go pretty much in any direction for about 2.1 billion blocks before the game decides to crash, mostly due to integer overflow. But that's far larger than what I actually need for the purposes of a flat plane. Which I guess I can also explain what's going on with this. So the end goal for this project is to eventually make it into a full-blown survival sandbox game that eventually transitions into you having the ability to perform space travel and go to other planets within the starting solar system you spawn in, and eventually into entire other solar systems via like FTL travel. Like, for example, an Alcubierre drive. Huh, that's not bad. You might notice some bugs, like this light's messed up, and I think I think I was getting some feedback on fog. It's a little too close, which I can move it and change it around, but yeah, there's definitely some lighting bugs that I need to investigate. It's fine if you update them, so I don't know why it's whenever they initially load. I'll have to look into that. And as you can see, this is red. I have coded in support to allow colored lighting, so that is a valid thing that they'll be able to do later. Water is not a liquid; it is a solid. You will just stand directly on top of it like you're Jesus Christ. And then in the lower left, I have a small UI element to kind of show you what block you're selecting to place, and you can scroll through them with the scroll bar. You have your torch, which is not correctly mapped to a model. You place it down, you get a torch. You have dirt. Yes, grass, dirt, torch. A block of water. Sand, which I'm not a big fan of. Snow, and stone. And these are the current blocks that are in the game right now. Most of it was just to make the world a little more appealing, because it used to just be, oops, all grass blocks, and that kind of looked bad. But that's a little more appealing. Yeah, that is the current vision for the game. I'm going to try and update it regularly and fix bugs, introduce new things one at a time very slowly to make sure I get some of the design right with the block models and, of course, with the elements themselves within the game. I've got some interesting ideas down the pipe for like crafting systems, particularly one involving metal ores and smelting. But yeah, I could see them way down there. Yeah, to go back to the main menu, moment, there's no UI to exit the game. You kind of just hit escape and then boom, you're back on the menu. And then you can observe the twinkling stars and the globe in the background. The world doesn't save, of course. There's no saving at the moment. So whatever you have will be temporarily deleted. Looks like I got stuck there. I think there's still some room for improvement with some of my collision code. But so far this is fairly decent and passable for at least a working alpha, which is why I'm putting it out and it's available for you now. But yeah, that is all for the game right now. It is essentially a very, very bare bones Minecraft clone. Well, that is it. So I thank you all for watching. Take care and have a nice day.